Thanks for joining me for this second video in a series of 5 topical videos that talk about the 5 P's of leadership. The 5 P's of leadership are a teaching that I typically do inside of my cohort. My cohorts, I have 2 of them so far. I run a communicators cohort in the year and a leaders cohort in the year, and I'm getting geared up for the next cohort, which is for leaders. And I've had the door open for my leaders cohort for a couple of weeks. And we always get this when we run those cohorts or different opportunities. Maybe it's an event or an excursion. People will email me and say, Crystal, that sounds amazing, but I can't afford it. And listen, I remember being in the place where I was a mom at home. I had 5 kids. We were homeschooling on one income, and whatever I could get that was free. Man, you better believe I was all over it. And my heart is to serve. I started on YouTube 5 years ago. Gosh, my goodness. I flipped on a switch because we all went into COVID, the first Monday of COVID, and I talked nonstop every day for 3 months because it was important to me to show up and to serve. And then I've continued to do that ongoingly in my membership, the Inner Circle, and have grown into sharing more professional level content and teaching and support for those who want to learn from me in those 2 areas, leadership and communication. Today, I want to talk to you about the P of leadership that has to do with purpose. Yesterday, or whenever you watched the video that came before this one, I talked about passion. And the key teaching there was for you to remember that you are the asset. No matter where you are leading in a corporate space, if you're leading in a ministry, if you are leading your own business, if you are an entrepreneur and you are building from the ground up, you are the asset, and you can't expect anyone else to be able to bring to the table what you bring and the vision and conviction that God has given you. So I want to encourage you to watch that first P because it forms the groundwork for what I want to talk to you about today. Today, I want to talk to you about the P of purpose and what your purpose has to be about and why you have to engage in any leadership space so that you can actually have an impact. Now, if you haven't already grabbed this free download that I have, here's what I need you to do. I need you to make sure you are subscribed to my email list because I'm sending this. I'm putting a link in the email all this week, and I'll make sure that there's a link down below also in the description for this video. But what I'm talking about, these 5 P's are on this printable. It's super simple. You can grab it and work through these yourself so that you're able to determine for yourself how you are executing on those 5 P's. You can join my email list if you're not on it by going to crystalevanshurst.com/subscribe. But today we're talking about the second P, and I want to jump into that because, like the people used to say, I don't want to be before you long. I want to make sure that I'm jumping in so that you can get what you need and you can get out. I want you to know that everybody that is successful in leading a team, in leading a business, in leading a ministry, in leading a company to greater profitability, they understand not only the passion that they have to do the job that they have to do, but they understand the purpose, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're serving others or an entity, how they are solving a problem for others. So it's not enough to just bring your chutzpah to the table and all the things you want to do. You have to constantly be asking yourself, what problem am I solving and what group of people am I serving? If you're not clear on that purpose, then you will always be charging towards the next win without clarity in why it's a win in the first place. So here's a question that I want to ask you, and this is the question that is actually on this sheet. It says, what problem does your leadership, your content, your product, or your service solve? What problem does your leadership, content, product, or service solve? You've got to know what people are actually struggling with. You've got to know what the needs are. You can't assume. You've got to lead with solutions, sharing what you know. Because if you're only leading from passion, if you're only leading from what makes me excited, then you might scratch your itch, but you might not scratch anyone else's. So you've got to start with, yes, you are the asset. What are you convicted of? What are you excited about? but who is this going to solve a problem for, and what problem is this going to solve? Your purpose as you lead, and this is for anyone in life, but definitely as you lead. As you're leading your team, your ministry, your business, you have to know that your purpose is not about you. It's about the problem that you're solving and the people that you're serving. Your clarity of purpose will create your credibility in leadership, because people can't follow someone who's not clear. As leaders, and I can say this for sure, we can get caught up in our passion. And even though, yes, we are the asset, our passion is not the end all be all. Your purpose is not only about what you love, it's also about the problems that you solve and the people that need the solutions that you offer. So the key in getting clarity on that purpose is to make sure that you are clear about your mission. You may love to teach, create, or write, for example, because everybody in this world wants to be a content creator. But why are you doing it? What pain are you easing? What confusion are you clarifying? What gap are you filling? Even in the word, we see this. Isaiah 61:1 says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives." Okay, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. That means I got passion. I'm ready to move, and I have been anointed. I feel like God has given me everything I need. But why? Why? What was the problem? There were people who needed good news. Who were those people? Poor people. Who else were you supposed to serve, Isaiah? The brokenhearted. What were you supposed to do? Bind them up. Bring them back together. Bring comfort and clarity. Who else were you supposed to serve? The captives. What were you supposed to give them? Freedom. Ooh, I love when this happens. I have tingles up my spine. There are people who are enslaved, who are in chains. And as excited as you may get about your passion, until you can bring that down to a purpose, these are the people who are enslaved, and I have a key to freedom. You're not clear. Jesus was clear on his mission. That's why he could go into public ministry at age 30, walk publicly in ministry for 3 years, and change the world. And he was not only clear on his calling personally, he spent time with God, his Father. He would go away and he would pray and he would say, listen, what am I supposed to do? We talked yesterday about the importance of you being connected to the kingdom and what's happening in heavenly places, because if you want to have a great impact on earth, your passion should be connected to God's purposes. When I first started sharing content online, I just flipped the switch, y'all, and I just started talking in COVID about whatever it seemed like we needed to hear that day. That's the day we introduced the fun and the foolery. Now we keep that fun and foolery going to the women who support me in the inner circle, and we have a good time. But y'all, I was just kind of doing the thing. And there's nothing wrong with throwing spaghetti at the wall sometimes, because sometimes God works through us just trying things. However, there came a point in my content creation career where I said, I want to be more intentional. Who are the people? Who are the women that I'm serving primarily? What is my avatar? How old is this woman? What season of life is she in? What are the problems that she wants me to solve? Y'all, and I still do a lot of investigative work to make sure I know who my person is. I know how old she is. I know what season of life she is. I know how many people in my audience are married or have kids or are single or divorced. I know what their questions are because I ask. So I'm not just out of passion creating content. I'm creating content with purpose. My purpose is to help women of faith live intentionally. So that's why there's a planner. That's why there is weekly coaching in my membership. That's why there is content that goes out free, but then there is some content that is paid. And I realized along the line, as God has grown me up in my clarity of purpose, that there are women who just are like, Crystal, help me live. Help me live. And then there are women who are like you, who are leaders, or for my other cohort, who are communicators. And they're like, but Crystal, yeah, but I need to know about business. I need to know about my business plan and my personal strategic plan. I need to understand marketing strategy. I need to understand knowing my numbers. I need to understand how to turn a profit or what levers to pull with the list that I have to generate some income. I need to know how to build a list. Those are the women who I serve in the cohorts. And for those women who want more personalized coaching, that's what I do. That has come level by level as I showed up with passion and asked God, what is my purpose? What is the problem I'm solving? And who are the people that I'm called to serve? You have to be able to name your problem and lead with solution. So if you don't know the problem that you're solving, if you're not clear about it, then here's the thing. You cannot lead with authority because you will be unclear and you'll second guess. And here's what we have a lot of people doing all the time, particularly on socials. People are chasing trends. Now, listen, I love socials. I have a lot of fun. And, but I want to tell you, you're always chasing an algorithm. You're always chasing what people are going to find you because of what Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or LinkedIn or X decided to show your people today. So this is not all about social, but it is about clarity. The most successful leaders will solve a specific problem for a specific group of people, and they will do that consistently and well. So one of the things that you have to do is clearly be able to name your problem. So in order to have your purpose, the first point was know the problem that you solve and the people that you serve. The second point is clearly be able to state or name the problem. Why are you doing what you do? And can other people follow you when you say it? Are you concise? Are you clear in your naming of the problem and in your delivery of the solution? According to Harvard Business Review, businesses and brands that clearly communicate the problem that they solve with ease increase engagement by 60%. There's a girl that I follow on Instagram, and just last night, she decided to launch with her journey to $1 million. And she started it off and said, let's be clear. I want to be wealthy. And over the next 12 months, I'm going to be on a journey to make $1 million. She gained in 48 hours, 30,000 followers. 30,000 followers. Why? Because she named the problem that she was going to solve and the solution that she was going to create. Clarity, y'all, is totally underrated. And if you can't be clear because you're figuring it out, that's okay. Get a whiteboard, talk to friends, work on it. I have gotten more and more clarity the more I've worked things out in my head and the more I've tried things. So you don't have to be completely clear today, but it should be something that you work towards, because the bigger and better you get at naming the problem that you solve and the people that you serve, the more the people that have that problem who need you to serve them can find you. Can they find you? Be clear and concise. One of the things that we work on in the leaders cohort is developing a clear elevator pitch. If you were on the elevator with someone and you had 5 floors and they said, what do you do? Could you answer them? Would they know exactly what you do when you get off that elevator? Well, if you can't do it on an elevator ride, you're probably not clear. Vague leaders confuse people. Clear leaders convert them. So one of the things we do in my coaching program is to spend time with women, helping them identify the root problem that they can address in their messaging and the solution that they can clearly state. For example, it's not enough for you to say, I want to help women feel empowered. That's great. That is really big and kind of vague. You would be so much better off saying, I help burned out moms reclaim their energy and purpose without guilt. Do you see the difference? In one, it's just general encouragement. And in the second one, I'm saying who I help, burned out moms, and I'm saying how I help them reclaiming their energy. Everybody who needs that. All the moms I know are tired, without guilt, and while they walk in purpose. The third thing that you need to do is that when you have a clear vision for who you serve and the problems that you solve, and when you can state it clearly, when you can name it clearly, you will be positioned for impact. Purpose positions you for impact. When you know what problem you solve, you'll stop shrinking and you'll show up. Because the reason why we shrink, y'all, is because we don't want to make a big deal about ourselves. We're like, well, I don't want to get out there and sell. I mean, listen, I'm the queen of, I don't want to have to sell. But the reality is, once I realize that I am serving somebody, once I realize that if I don't say it or if I don't provide it, that they won't have it, at least not in the way that God has gifted me to give it to them, it changes the narrative. No longer am I thinking, oh my goodness, I don't want to get out here and promote myself. I'm thinking, I want to serve. And God has given me, y'all, I have right now the workbook. And if you're in the cohort, you get a digital version of that. If you become one of the coaching clients that are a part of the cohort, just more connection with me and with our team and more direct access. We send a box of goodies, and the book is in the box. Y'all, this book has now become 170 pages. It's just full of worksheets and tips and tools and info. I mean, it's amazing. I'm so proud of what we've been able to achieve. It didn't start out that way. The first book was 30 pages and it was a lot of fluff, me trying to figure out what to say. Now it's 170 because we've gotten really good at this. One of the things that it's important is that you have identified it. And once you identify it and you get clear, then you're able to have a greater impact. The more clarity I have gotten on who I'm supposed to serve and what I'm supposed to be helping them with, the more excited I am about serving, the more excited I am about saying there's a 170-page workbook, the more excited I am about saying that even though I will be your teacher in this cohort, the other women who are in the cohort will also teach you, because some things only happen best in the context of community. And I'm excited to talk about that. Once you know your purpose, it becomes your platform. I have had the first group of women, we call them the OGs. They were the first leaders cohort. I call them the 12 disciples. Y'all, it's because of them. It's because of them that I now say, and it still makes me a little tweaky when I say it, but I'll say, okay, I'm Coach Chrissy. I show up every week and provide weekly mentoring to women in the inner circle. But now, in the last 2 years, I show up every week and provide professional level mentoring to women who are communicators and leaders. And I put Coach Chrissy on my branding and on my platform because as I moved in my purpose rose up to meet me. And my platform is being created because as I agree with God, He gives me clarity. And the people that I'm serving give me clarity too. And this one is a hard one for me. You got to stop trying to be everything to everyone. Now, Oprah, whatever you think about her, I think we can learn a lesson from her. She didn't pick one topic, because that's what a lot of people think we mean when we say niche. And that does mean that for some people. What she did is she picked one persona, and she was like, I'm going to make sure I'm your teacher. And at her last episode, the 25th last episode in her 25th year, she said, all of these years, that's what I've done. I've been a teacher. Lots of topics, lots of conversations, lots of guests, but I have been the teacher. And that was her niche. I'm going to be the teacher on daytime television to help women navigate, by and large women, navigate the things that they would like to discuss in this world and in their lives. So your niche can be a specific platform, or it can be something broad because your niche is your persona. My niche is persona. I'm a big sister, I'm a coach, and I'm showing up in a broad sense, teaching women about their lives. I teach, I have guests, I have a membership for those who want more, and I have professional level experiences for those who need that as well. You've got to be able to have impact once you involve yourself in your purpose and commit to what you have clarity, conviction, and confidence about. I'm so excited about this summer because in the inner circle, we're going to be talking a lot about confidence. Do you know how many of us, leaders or not, simply will not do what God wants us to do because we lack confidence, not realizing that you build confidence as you move? Okay, that's another talk for another day. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he who runs may read it. When I run a marathon or when I've run a half marathon, there's always a pacer. Excuse me. And a pacer is a person who says, hey, I'm running a 10-minute mile or 8-minute mile or 12-minute mile. And if you want to keep pace, follow me. And they hold a sign while they run. So if I want to run at a certain pace, I need the person to hold the sign. There are people in your life, in your sphere of influence, at your company, in your church, in your nonprofit ministry, in your for-profit ministry, in your business, in the business that you're building, in your company, who are like, we want to follow you. Can you hold up the sign? Can we know where we're going? Can you clearly state your pace? Your impact will be created when you have clarity and when you are willing to hold up the sign and not run away from the platform that God wants you to walk in. Think about this. If you had a GPS system and you had a GPS that never got a destination or never gave you the destination, you just got in the car and hit the button and it said, just drive. Okay, you could drive. You're going to burn up a whole lot of gas. But that's what leadership looks like without purpose. If I don't know where I'm going, and if I don't know why I'm going, I can drive, but I'll have no clarity, no direction, and no real progress. And a lot of us are out here leading without clarity. And that's why we always feel like we're not getting anywhere. So I want you to know you're not here to just post. You're not here to just create content. You are here to solve a problem and lead with purpose. I want you to be able to define what you really do and who you're really for. So stop spinning your wheels and solve the problem of focus. And I know that the download that we have is going to be helpful to you. First and easiest thing for you to do, and make sure you don't miss out on anything, is to make sure you're on my email list. Go to crystalevanshurst.com/subscribe. Because I would love for you to get all the things that I share. But here are the details on the cohort for those of y'all who want more information, because I'd love for you to jump in and join me. We actually extended, because not only did people say, Crystal, I can't afford it, we also had people email and say, Crystal, I missed it. So we turned the lights back on to make sure that those who wanted to jump in could. This is the information for it. You go to crystalevanshurst.com/cohort. And again, you will be joined in a community group that is going through the content together, with weekly available for me and my team to answer questions as we walk you through what it means to lead with purpose, to get clarity on your vision, to get a good strategy for moving that vision forward, and also for executing it so that you can turn a profit, generate income, make money, solve people's problems, and also bless yourself and your team or your business in the process. So crystalevanshurst.com/cohort. I'll put that back on the screen in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about a couple other things. I know that everybody who's watching this is not a leader, and that's okay. That's okay. I want you to know that I am so excited about our Summer of Sisters in our Inner Circle membership. So this is more like personal life coaching and development. And we have some women who do the cohort and do our Inner Circle. But if you'd like to join me in the Inner Circle, I've got 2 invitations for you. Number 1, we have a virtual walk that's coming up. It's this Saturday. It's free. It's free. And all you've got to do to get the information is go to thesistercircle.com/virtual walk. Thesistercircle.com/virtual walk. This Saturday, start out anytime between 7 and 12. Share a picture. It's a lot of fun. We're giving you a playlist, tips and tools for you to invite your friends, to make sure that you're not walking alone. It's a community event. And if you're a woman of faith who wants to engage with her friends or with acquaintances and develop relationship, this virtual walk that we're providing is a great opportunity to do that. The second thing is, check out the Inner Circle. It's a great place to be, particularly this summer, because we're going to be talking about a lot of amazing things. We're going to have 3 challenges this summer. One of those is our Move and Groove, movement, weight loss, working out. The next challenge this summer is Stash Your Cash. We'll be talking about money, getting better with money and making sure we have our money under control and we know where we're going. And then the third thing is decluttering our lives. Now, my inner circle, y'all, is the group of women who actually support what I do. And it's General Life. Let me change this link right here. General Life, Inner Circle. The cohort is the leaders cohort. You do not have to be in both. So join me for the virtual walk on Saturday. It's free. Consider joining the Inner Circle. We're going to have a great time this summer. And then also, if this leadership talk has sparked something in you and you're like, Crystal, I actually need to go deep because I need to figure out how to build a business, how to make money, how to get my marketing straight, or how to get clear on my purpose, then I invite you again to join me in the cohort. So I love this music so much, y'all. I'm going to turn it back on just because I just love it. Here it comes. Just makes me happy. I want to give you a taste of this because you ought to launch into your day feeling some kind of way, okay? And if you needed somebody to tell you that God has a purpose and a plan for your life, and it doesn't matter if you're leading or if you're momming or if you're wifing or if you're typing or if you're nursing or if you're lawyering or if you're driving or if you're teaching, it doesn't matter what you're doing. God has a plan and a purpose for your life. But he does want you to show up in your life with clarity as a woman of faith who wants to make an impact for the kingdom. And if you are a leader, well, listen, I'm here to help you walk out that leadership journey. And I pray that you think about joining me in the cohort. If that's not something you can do, listen, I understand. Life be lifing sometimes. And that's why I'm here every day this week to give you teaching that I think will change the narrative of how you lead. I'm here tomorrow morning. And if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you are. So that way when I go live, you'll get a notification. Okay? Okay. All right, y'all. It's time for the good, make me happy music. and a little bit of levity for your day.